going to collaborate with these mining companies in these areas. For example, on road policy, how do we get them to put all these royalties into the kitty? You know how hot it is, but we must find a way to get them to at least give back with the support of government, so maybe we're offsetting, and so that these communities come back to life. I mean, I think that anytime I walk into a place like Obuasi, I've said, if you want to see injustice, come to this town. We must change all of that and change the licensing regime and strengthen it, and make sure that the people are part of this process, and make sure that people who are giving licenses are constantly being supervised that they are doing the right thing. Those are our focus. That's our focus.
We are dealing with militias.
Yes.
We are dealing with private armies.
Yes.
To what extent would this policy, about licensing and so on, change the situation when we're dealing with armed groups, heavily armed groups?
I think you make a very good point. The price of gold today announced $3,000 plus. It makes
it's a big incentive.
Serious incentive. And actually they've changed their modus operandi. It used to be that the small scale mine or these illegal miners will be mining, and then they themselves have few no. Now they have so much resources that they are actually looking for bandits who are not afraid to die, to basically block. For example, in some of these forest areas that they've occupied, they block a whole road leading to them in barriers that you can't, you have to cross like 8 barriers to get to them, armed to the teeth. And the kind of sophisticated machinery that I reportedly been told is very welcome. But I think that there's a big difference apart from the political world. I think that something happened. You won't believe this, but from 2022 there was no military intervention in our forest reserve, even while we were increasing the issuance of license of forest reserve. There was no military intervention for roughly almost 3 years, until we came in. And so it was like free for all, and that is why the forest areas became what it is, and that is why it's not been so easy to try to take it back. I think they are getting the message. I am even more encouraged by the new changes that has happened and the commitment. We're having an engagement with the CDS today. I believe that we are coordinating very well, and I think we are properly aligned that the enforcement must be ruthless and must be sustained. And also, I'll give you another statistics. 835 arrests for that whole period. Ask me how many people actually were prosecuted. 35.
We arrested almost 900 people involved in GALAMSEY and prosecuted 35
of them, actually successfully in the period. I have talked to the Attorney General. I even went to the Chief Justice. I've told the Attorney General that this is the worst thing that will happen. I remember our first arrest was in the Western region, about 9 Chinese. And then I got a call from the commander. Minister, the calls are coming in. I said, Commander, you are empowered to do your job, and listen, this is a different time, this is a different new day. The Minister of Interior won't call you. I know that. He won't call you. And guess what? I will not call you. As a matter of fact, anybody in this country who calls you, let me know. The only person that must instruct me to tell you to release anybody somehow is the President of the Republic and the Vice President who supports him. But I know they will never call me on this matter. So please do your job if you are hearing it. And I think that this is too important. This is too important. We must be very clear that there is no room, because this. Look, I was giving them statistics about the levels we've got into. You know, some of the journalists were asking me, 2 months, we need to change. I said, we use 8 years to destroy everything, please. I think you need to give us a little time to unwind. 6.2 billion Ghana cedi is the value of excavators we bring every year. One excavator? No, the total value of the excavator. That's the third largest items we imported in the country. It must tell you something. Why what are we using these excavators and chamfines for? It's illegal mining. Illegal mining. And we have to, and we began the process of engaging transport to make sure we tighten all those processes. Who are the owners who are renting or buying these excavators for people to engage in these illegalities that is destroying our forests and our water bodies? Are they these big guys in Accra who are so untouchable, who are only sitting there waiting for the big money to come?
In the last election campaign, actually, one politician said that a serious fight against GALAMSEY will cost them the elections.
I'm not surprised he said that. I'm not surprised he said that because I think that the people we are dealing with have resources. I told you, have resources. They are making millions of dollars. Dollars, I mean. And if we don't stand up, I'm not going to be surprised that one day this group of people will have what it takes to probably run this country. They are already doing everything, and I don't think that I want to scare the people of Ghana. But I mean, why is it that we are not successful in prosecuting them? This is how it starts. When they are able to get into the enforcement system, get into our courts, and now get the audacity to start to make sure they take the political space. And so we are dealing with a very serious matter. But I believe that the president's commitment and his focus and determination is what will make the difference, and I'm very determined to work with my colleagues to make sure we overcome this challenge.
I've had some very disturbing reports about the medical consequences.
Yes.
The medical authorities are speaking about children being born with multiple organs, some being born with cancer at birth, born at birth with cancer, some born without limbs, and some born without eyes, and so on. And they say that this is attributable to GALAMSEY.
I have first-hand knowledge of it. Just 3 months ago, a river in my area, all of a sudden we saw the fishes that had all sorts of diseases. All sorts of
fishes.
Yes. And the results is very damning.
But look at this. Is that also your responsibility, dealing with the fallout, the medical fallout of GALAMSEY? Is that also your responsibility?
We have institutions that are responsible. For example, the Minister of Water Resources. Water Resource Commission is really part of it. The truth of the matter is that the levels of what we cyanide importation in this country is beyond anything. But go to the port and check the volumes of cyanide. You won't see it. And some of the information that we are gathering is that cyanide is entering our country in droves, in trucks, from our Togo border, for example. So in this whole fight, every institution, what is happening in our border? What is the customs and immigration doing? So there's so much blame to go around, but I don't think that's what we have to do. It is really the time to make sure that we coordinate better, and also do our own internal cleanup. If you ask me honestly, anybody who goes to work in a mining area as a police officer cannot be there for 5 years. No. And so there's more we have to do, but it is becoming very clear that we are beginning to see signs of a country that bad guys are trying to overrun us. That's the crisis we face, and I think that we came in the right time. And in the last 2 months, the steps we've taken gives me hope, because we are doing everything possible. I remember launching the river guards, and I had all sorts of interesting comments. I mean, the Navy now has a responsibility to also help us with our internal water systems. But the Navy capacity in terms of people to man these water bodies, it's not going to be, it's not possible. So the Navy will make interventions once in a while when they hear. How do we deal with it? And then it goes to the first thing I said. The people of Ghana must be part of this process. And so I said, why don't we working with the Navy to recruit people who lives along these river banks, who are really the people who are bearing the brunt of this crisis. Getting young people to be trained, to be, the word is indoctrinated, to be made to understand that they can stand up. And they are not soldiers, they are not going to have sophisticated combat, but they can work in the spirit of the young pioneer. Informing and coordinating with the Navy. The Navy is going to have rivering bases along these river banks, so that they will reach all these places on a short notice. And they are training them, and they are going to be in charge of the command and control. And I think that we must really do all the things we can. There's a discussion about what we do with our forests, especially making sure that we can constantly get the army to help us with the forest guards. But as I said, the forest guards need a lot of support when it comes to our forest reserve. The devastation in our forests, if you see it, you will not walk away the same. We launched the Tree for Life initiative, and the president himself was there. 5,000 hectares, that's 7,500 football fields. That is gone. 7,500 football fields of forest cover that is giving us life. That is what is wiped out. And how do we bring it back? The Tree for Life initiative is not only going to focus on reforestation, but we also are going to try to extend it outside the forest reserve and plant more trees in a lot of areas, bring it to even our coastal areas and cities within, and cooperate with the Ministry of Agric to also plant fruit trees and encourage young people, especially school children, in the habit of planting trees. And so this is a very important initiative as well. So, but we will get there. I think all of this I'm talking about is happening in just 2 months in office.
That's quite impressive. I've driven around and I've seen these huge craters, huge holes, left as a result of this GALAMSEY.
Sometimes by the roadside.
By the roadside.
Yes.
Bridges collapsing because they dug under.
They're digging the gold.
And so, how do you propose to deal with this level of damage? Not just the cutting of trees, but the destruction of the land itself.
There are fundamental things that needs to be done. This craze to look for the gold no matter what. When they believe that the gold is under your house, in the night when you're sleeping, they'll go there. They break the house down. One of the sad stories about all of this is we took our eye off on a critical institution, the Ghana Geological Survey Authority. This is the agency that must be empowered and resourced to identify all the mineralized areas, so that the state knows everywhere where gold is. How do you now I come to you and I said I want to do mining. I said, okay, I'll give you this license. You, the private person, go and look around.
Do a prospect.
And when you find the gold, then come and then we will now. How helpless is that? I have proposed, and we are working very hard at it, to strengthen the capacity of the Geological Survey, to make sure that we can get them to work and identify areas where we can now focus people's attention. Everybody is digging everywhere like we are losing our head because they don't know where the gold is. So we are digging to see where the gold is. I think that we will first have to begin by organizing it better, making sure that we can put thousands and thousands. This is where the light-scale people come in. We have to have some changes there. You have mined in this area for 10 years. You say that you are finished. You have moved on. This rock, you have done everything. You've left it. For 15 years, you have not even gone there. This is the only area that the people have. They can't farm there. But even the abandoned area, you don't even want them to come close. You shoot them with the support of our own military. How? How do we work with the large-scale mining companies? I was talking to them recently, and I said, every university nurtures primary school and secondary schools and build capacity so that exactly what are you doing to strengthen the capacity of the communities and letting them also work, making millions of dollars, and their roads are bad, no water, and they can't even get a place to work. We have to change that. Make sure that we are collaborating with the mining companies to leave out areas that they finish mining, and also helping build the capacity of the local people to do it in a way that makes it more organized, safety provided. We have geologists there guiding them. A lot of the people who are doing this damage, they have no idea how to do mining.
Very interesting. I mean, now the focus is on gold.
Yes.
But there are other minerals.
Yes.
Like diamonds. That's right. In the Akwitia area and so on.
Yes.
Why is there the shift in focus? Is it just because of the world price or something?
Well, the world price, and let us be true, Ghana is the gold coast. This is the world's largest producer of gold. We have a lot of gold. we can turn it to our advantage. And just think about how long gold has been produced.
Yeah.
I mean, go to the Queen's Palace and look at how much gold is there. But even all these years, we still have a lot of reserves of gold. We must organize it better and change our view. For example, I mean, I would say that this is the only resource that has not visibly helped our country. Even the shortest period of time that we had oil, see how local content came in to basically strengthen Ghanaian capacity. It took us a very long time. Even today, when we are trying to implement local content, there's so much resistance somewhere. We must also change the dynamics. One of the reforms we are bringing is the licensing. We have only small scale and then large scale. So we have not given Ghanaians the opportunity to build capacity and move to large scale, for example. So if somebody has a small scale, which is about 25 kilometers, 25 hectares of land, a small scale mining area, but he has built that capacity, and because he wants to expand, he will go for a second license, a third license, all small scale. One person may have 20 licenses. We have to change it and make sure we have medium scale and change and have different categories. So we are going to recategorize the mining into small scale, medium scale, and then large scale, and create systems that allow us to build a capacity. One of the discussion now is the gold board that is coming in to try to organize the export of our gold better. Our gold was just, everybody was dog eat dog, smuggling it left and right. One company will go to a country and tell us this is how much gold we are taking and pay, this is how much tax we give you, yet they can't dodge that in their own country. So they cheat us so high. How do we make sure that we organize the export of our gold resources so we can account for the volumes of gold that is living here? That's part of this whole effort. But we have to also organize it in a way that the small scale mining is properly organized, using the support of the universities to make sure that in a typical, we will call it small scale mining cooperatives, which is going to have a lot of people in that community working. They have experts, they have geologists, they have water experts, and that it is organized such a way that there will be no distraction of water, and the environment will also be protected, while at the same time they will also fairly be, the gold will be bought and then they will be paid fairly. And this is the whole thing. If we can organize it this way, I believe that this very important work will be a decent work that people who are engaging will have all sorts of respect. Unfortunately today, even though gold is critical for our country, because of these bad guys and the damage we are causing, it puts everybody together. So even the good people who wants to do the right thing are all mixed up.
However, is it a fact that there are other factors destroying our forest?
Yes.
For example, there's no galamsey in the Achibota forest, but it's being encroached upon.
Yes, there's a lot of other facts.
What are these factors?
Encroachment, for example, our timber resources, illegal logging is one of the big menaces. It's another big illegal activity that people are constantly illegally logging some of the species that are not supposed to be touched. And there's a lot of work in that area. I've not even been talking about it. But there's also this craze about even how we are managing our lands. I mean, if you saw the decision that was made immediately we came the president the directive that came that there will be no sale of government lands. And look, if I tell you, the phone, I mean, you'll be there, and the chief fire officer's bungalow is gone. She's sitting there, and the property is sold. This is the bungalow of the chief fire officer since 1960.
It's gone.
Oh, it's been sold. And the guy walks in and said, "That's my property." I mean, prime properties that has been set aside because we would die and go, but Ghana will be here, and other generation will come, and governance must continue. We've sold almost everything, and you wonder what will be the future of where the state will be, because people must, and so there's a lot we must deal with.
So now the policy is that there will be no sale of government lands?
No.
Absolutely.
There will be no sale of government lands, but even when it is very clear, there are circumstances that it must be done transparently, and we must make sure that there's the market value. All these so-called sales, you go and look at. I mean, how do you go to cantonment and sell a prime property that is being sold in millions in pittance, just because the people of Ghana have entrusted you with the power to basically take care of and represent them and protect their interests? This is the highest level of betrayal you can ever think of. And I pray that in our time here, the story will be that this is the government that came and gave Ghanaians hope.
One area of concern for many years has been the Achimota forest.
Yes.
Are you going to protect the Achimota forest?
Well, I think that it's our responsibility to protect the Achimota forest and do everything possible to clock back on what the damage that has been caused. Because I was reading a report in this whole Accra. Show me how many forest areas that is giving us protection.
It's only carbon sink.
So unless we decide that we want to just finish it and expose ourselves to all sorts of diseases and die, that Achimota forest is now the only key protector of the human beings in this area, and we must do everything possible to protect it, and we will.
So you are going to halt
That's correct. We've already been taking steps to do that. We've already been taking steps to do that. You obviously know that there's these issues of the whole family and land that has already been given them, by the previous government and all of that. So those are matters there. But I think that going forward, we must protect what we have.
What's your view? All of these environmental protection agencies, have they done well? What's your view? How come that they exist and then the problem keeps growing all the time?
I probably will be saying that until I got closer. When I see the Forestry Commission, I look at what they are exposed to, the risk they take, how much they are paid. I go home every day and I say, this country must live up to its promise to the frontliners. Truly. I think that the EPA, for example, They are doing their best. But just look at the capacity of the EPA. They are not even, their presence is not even in some of these areas we are talking about. So how do we get them? Over the years we have been gagged, because at all times we go and hit the wall, and then our economy is being managed by our colonial masters who give us rules and guides of things we can't do. We can't hide this, we can't hide this. So we have not been able to even expand and break the capacity of some of these institutions. Prioritization is important, and everything we've done wrong, these are the consequences we are bearing. We don't talk about it. How come that forest guards, you know that they have not been able to hire, for even in the face of 5,000 hectares gone and all this incursion by all these armed gangs, the Forestry Commission has not been able to hire for so many years. And so we need to build their capacity. It takes money. I won't describe our pairs because you know, this present budget, I won't say it's austerity budget, but I even say that the Minister of Finance is such a magician that somehow he can, under these circumstances, bring out a budget that gives Ghanaians hope. That to me is amazing. But we must learn these lessons, come out and say to ourselves, no more. We must live within our means and prioritize and make sure we put our money in the areas that matter. We'll be spending money in crazy areas that quite frankly are not important. And that is the consequences, the consequences. And I think all of this must change. All of this must change. I think that politically, the political class must also sit up. Must. You know, every time I sit in front of you, I say something. Who told me that I will grow up to sit in front of Comrade Kwesi Pratt? You know why? I was in the village. I was a young boy in Atwabo, growing up one morning, and I think they were on vacation. 1979, there's coup, revolution. This is where Let the Blood Flow was happening. And this man, where everybody was running for cover, he went to the shooting range and came and he was talking every time. I say, the man is not afraid of these guns. And you have been so consistent for all these years, and I think that you have earned that right to say the things you say, because you've been around, you've been very consistent. I'm sure you've been warning us of everything that has happened.
Thank you. Thank you. But Honorable, finally.
Yes.
Finally, what should you expect of your administration?
Yes.
At the end of your tenure at the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, what do you think you would have accomplished?
It is my prayer that this goodwill that the people of Ghana and trust they've reposed in us will be translated in policy changes, will be translated in proper aggressive fight that we will protect our 288 forest reserves, will bring them back to life, that our water bodies will be restored to blue, that we will organize mining, especially small-scale mining, in a very responsible and sustaining manner, that people who are engaged in this business will be so conscientized to know that you can do mining, but you can do it responsibly. That communities are now the ones that are in the driving seat, and the president has made it clear that the district chief executives, one of their KPIs will be on how they manage illegal mining in their districts. With that, we will be able to look back, and the people of Ghana said, oh, our waters are all turned blue thanks to the leadership of President Mahama and the NDC. And I believe that we must stay close with the people of Ghana and carry them along. I think that how we've started, I pray so. I pray that we'll get to that point. That is our goal.
Thank you very much for coming, Honorable. Thank you so very much for coming.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, viewers, this has been a very special interview on a very special issue, Galamsey and related matters. And you heard it all. The Honorable Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Ama Kofi Boa, says he's ready to fight, but he needs your support. You have to be in the trenches with him if we expect, success. Thank you very much for staying with us. The morning show continues, and very soon, Kwame Owusu-Danso and his guests will be looking at the newspapers for this morning. Goodbye from Pan-African Television. Bye-bye.